Welcome. I am Nataraja Upadhyaya. Welcome to the weekly top 50 mutual funds analysis for the week ending May 17 to 2024. This particular week was a recovery week for equities. As a result, the top 50 based on 1 month return recovered by 5.73% for the week, taking the average monthly return to 10.42% and annual return to 49.37%. So, which is very impressive because the annual leaders as such also rose to 77.89% because the top 50 based on 1 year return also rose by 4.71% for the week, 6.81% for the month. Okay, looking at the bottom 50, there were recovery even for in the bottom 50 funds, whether you look at 1 month top 50 or 1 year top 50, and entire mutual funds universe, which is approximately 1,586 mutual funds, the average rose by 1.99% for the week and 27.30% for the entire year. So it's a very good week for the mutual funds. So looks like the equity recovery is over. In fact, if you look at the equity funds and the top 50 funds, entire top 50 funds, whether it's 1 month return or a 1 year return, were filled by equity funds. Therefore, there is no point analyzing the equity separately because it's one and the same. There is nothing much to talk about debt funds because unless interest rates going down, there is nothing much to talk. Hybrid funds, have been a bit disappointing during the equity correction because the equity portion of the hybrid funds also corrected significantly. So now the recovery is happening, therefore hybrid funds are also recovering. Not as fast as equity funds, but quite impressive. So the average hybrid funds, 217 funds, point to an average return of 21.69. Top 50 for the last 1 month, 31.60, and top 50 for the last 1 year, 34.90. Another good news last week was the recovery of commodity funds. So there was a good recovery. So as a result, the negative returns for the month are all erased, and the commodity funds are looking at 20% annual return, which is very healthy as a replacement for your fixed deposit. There is one more small news here is silver funds, rather silver commodity went up significantly on Friday night, and that will be showing as a positive return for the coming week also. So commodity funds are also in a invest mode. Now let us get into the top 50 funds based on 1 month return. See, though the Mirae Asset Hang Seng Tech ETF, Nippon India ETF Hang Seng Bees, Mirae Asset Hang Seng Tech ETF Fund of Fund, and Edelweiss Greater China Equity Offshore Fund, they have shown significant monthly return even because of the bullish run last week. They are not making investment grade because their return based on 6 months and 1 year are below average. So what is considered investment worthy is always those funds which have above average return for 1 month to 1 year. When I say above average, it is above average of the top 50 funds. So that way, Canara Robeco Infrastructure Fund, LIC Mutual Fund Infrastructure Fund, DSP Tiger Fund, HDFC Defense Fund, JM Midcap Fund, and HSBC Infrastructure Fund have made the cut. DSP Tiger Fund is running for the last 3 weeks. HDFC Defense Fund missed out last week and reappearing. And Canara Robeco Infrastructure Fund is coming up for the first time. So these are all investment worthy. The bottom 50 funds, nothing much to talk about, except you'll see a lot of IT funds, or they're also called digital funds or technology funds. And there will be some other funds also, which are either commodity or debt funds. So IT funds are still out of favor. Looking at the 1-year return, CPSE ETF, SBI PSU fund, Motilal Oswal S&P BSE Enhanced Value ETF, Aditya Birla Sun Life PSE Equity Fund, and Motilal Oswal S&P BSE Enhanced Value Index Fund. Though they are in the top 5, they did not make the investment grade because in some of the timelines they are missing above average returns. So those which are shown in green are Invesco India PSE Equity Fund, Bandhan Infrastructure Fund, Nippon India Power and Infrastructure Fund, Franklin Build India Fund, DSP Tiger Fund, LIC MF Infrastructure Fund, and Invesco India Infrastructure Fund. These are all investment worthy. Bottom 50 based on 1-year return, you could see that bottom 50 average for 1 year is 5%. And there is these are various funds of various themes and some debt funds and commodity funds. Now, there is no point in discussing equity funds separately because whatever top 50 we discussed for 1 month and 1 year are pretty much the equity funds. So this is kind of a redundancy. Coming to hybrid funds are second to equity in terms of returns, and they are supposed to give some kind of a protection against equity correction, though we did not see such a protection in the recent equity correction because the equity portion of these funds are also correcting significantly, and that didn't make sense. So I tend to feel, therefore, the equity portion of these hybrid funds are not as well managed as equity funds. However, the good news is this week, all these hybrid funds have recovered. In the top 50, some of them are shown in green, and these are the standard ones which have been discussed in the past week, so I will not mention them. Even on a 1-year basis, there are various hybrid funds which are looking very good. So it is nice to see 60% kind of a return on a top hybrid fund here, JM Aggressive Hybrid Fund. Coming to commodities, as I said, had a very good week. You could see that on average, 1.32% recovery, and some of the funds are investment worthy, shown in green, are Tata Silver ETF, UTI Silver ETF FOF, and Tata Silver ETF FOF. And these are all silver and they are going to do well. So if you can afford to invest, you can consider this. Even on a 1-year basis, one fund showed investment worthiness. It is UTI Silver ETF FOF. So silver is standing more than the gold, is the message here. And looking at the debt funds, nothing much to talk about, but I was looking at any consistent performer. Last week we didn't see any. This week, Quantum Dynamic Bond Fund stood above others by having above average return across all the funds. But on a 1-year basis, no fund made the cut. So that's the summary for this week. For more details, you can go to my blog, Nats Fund Corner, on the Blogger, and all my updates are put in my social network platform. So that comes to the end of the bulletin for this week. I'm sure that next week is going to be much more bullish, and equity corrections seem to be over for the time being. So those who are willing to put more money into mutual funds, this is the best time, and wish you all the best. And unless there are some global negative news, I think Indian equity is going to come back to its bull run from next week onwards, and that has already begun in the last week. So see you next week, and have a good week ahead. Thank you.